You know that we are huge backers of natural gas and the natural gas stocks on this show. Why do we like natural gas? We think it's the best way to break America's dependence on foreign oil, fight climate change. Natural gas is 50% cleaner than coal and 30% cleaner than oil. And most important for the stock market and the economy in general, it could be a massive job creator. The problem, as we said over and over again, is that the natural gas industry lacks the political clout of the coal lobby, a.k.a., as we like to call it, the pro-black lung, anti-rainbow coalition. So when we see a politician making a serious push to expand the use of natural gas, we get excited for the stocks, we get excited for the country. And that's why we're thrilled to have Congressman Dan Boren of Oklahoma on tonight's show. Earlier this month, Congress passed an amendment that Boren authored and added to the 2010 Energy and Water Appropriations Act to provide $5 million for additional funding for natural gas vehicle research. That may, frankly, not seem like a lot of money. It's a start, for heaven's sakes, and it shows the industry is finally starting to pick up some political steam. Boren also joined forces with Tim Murphy from Pennsylvania to start the Congressional Natural Gas Caucus, something we need if we're ever going to use the commodity as a transition fuel, instead of funneling federal dollars to pay for research into the oxymoronic clean coal. Remember, though, the coal lobby is much more powerful and organized than the natural gas proponents, and has much more power, courtesy of its rich entrenchment in the key energy-related committees in Congress. In fact, I can't help but wonder if the coal proponents weren't snickering that the natural gas industry only got $5 million to research nat gas vehicles. I think that the coal lobby, if they wanted to, they could have gotten $500 million to research coal-fired cars. Boren's from Oklahoma, where we're headed tomorrow for the University of Oklahoma as part of the Mad Money Back to School tour. You've heard of coal states. Hey, how about Oklahoma? Natural gas state. Fourth largest in terms of reserves, second largest in terms of production. We want to know really much more about natural gas's prospects in Congress, as this is one of the areas where politics is every bit as important as the stocks and earnings models in old-fashioned research. You can't make a judgment on these stocks without knowing about what Congress is going to do. It just doesn't matter. That's why we're talking to Congressman Dan Boren of Oklahoma right now. Congressman Boren, welcome to Mad Money.
Boomer Sooner, Jim. Good to see you.
Just thrilled to have you on the show, especially in anticipation of our I got to tell you, I am very excited to be going to the University of Oklahoma tomorrow. Congressman, what has prevented natural gas from becoming a more popular fuel for this country? What are the hot points that need to be addressed?
Well, I think, this is, it's not a new source of energy, but we found all these reserves. We've got these shale plays in places like Oklahoma, Texas, but in places like West Virginia and New York, Pennsylvania. So we found this new supply. So this is rather new with the supply compared to some of the other industries that are much more mature. So a lot of people are getting on board. We have Democrats, Republicans in our caucus. We have people that are supporting a bill, the NAT GAS bill that I'm pushing to get more natural gas onto the road in our vehicles. We're just starting, as you said earlier, and I think we're going to get more people on board. I've got folks from New York City all the way to Houston, Texas, that are supportive of this fuel stock.
All right, Congressman, and if you were in New York, here's what you would be reading in the papers. This is a dangerous fuel. There have been some explosions when we brought it out of the ground, and it can pollute the water supply. Are these kinds of objections rearguard actions that aren't taking into account the new technical ways to get it out?
That's right. I'd say they're misinformed. For those of us who've been around the oil patch our whole life, you know about hydraulic fracturing, and that's been the big issue people are talking about. There have been over 1 million wells drilled, and some folks can only point to 3 examples where they think that hydraulic fracturing had anything to do with the water supply, and actually we can debunk those 3 cases. So this is very safe. And the fuel that we're bringing out, this natural gas, is very clean. We've had a lot of the environmental groups actually come to us and say, we want to support you. We're on your side. How often does that happen when you have the environmentalists and the oil and gas community together on the same page?
Well, Congressman, you are absolutely right. I see the coalition building. But what I do not hear is from the White House. Now, the White House, I hear solar. I hear wind, I hear battery cars, and I think, okay, you plug battery car into a coal-based system, what good is that? When are we going to hear the president utter the two words natural and gas?
Well, I think you're going to hear it very soon, because my bill, the NAT GAS bill with John Larson of Connecticut, also John Sullivan of Oklahoma, in the last Congress was the Emanuel Boren bill. This was Rahm Emanuel's bill. So look for the chief of staff to be whispering in the president's ear saying, we need to get this done. I've talked to the majority leader, the speaker, and others, the Republican leadership as well as Democratic leadership. I think we're going to get something done this Congress. I really do. And look for the White House to say something positive.
All right, I mentioned earlier that there was a $5 million addition to bill the amendment. Now, I got to tell you, I'm a guy who used to run money. For a living, I ran $500 million. It wasn't considered to be a big amount. How can I come back and say $5 million is going to make a difference?
Well, it is a small start, but actually that amendment was kind of the start of this whole process of getting our NAT gas bill in there. We're talking about billions of dollars in tax credits so that you can buy those heavy trucks, you can manufacture natural gas vehicles, and we can wean ourselves off of foreign oil. I'm tired of, Boone Pickens always says, we're sending billions of dollars every month to these governments that don't like us. And guess what? Natural gas, over almost 100% of it that we use is produced domestically. These are American jobs. These are good paying jobs, over $90,000 a year jobs on average. I mean, in a time when the economy is really shaky, hey, we've got this perfect product, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to stabilize the price of natural gas. You're not going to have these big swings, and we're going to have a marketplace.
All right, Congressman, one of the things that look, let me just put my cards on the table. I'm trying to make money for people, and if it makes money for the country, if it creates jobs, if it makes a cleaner environment, if it makes us independent, hey, fantastic. But I've been focused on natural gas because my whole life, my 30 years of investing, these companies have been the best performers.
That's
XTO,
right.
which I helped bring public at Goldman Sachs, has been about the best performer I've ever seen. When I get off the desk and talk to these executives, the one thing that they said over and over again was that they felt that given all these positives, that this was going to be a shoo-in. They didn't understand Congress and the way it works. Can you explain to me how coal, which is clearly dirtier, gets article after article about ways to make it cleaner that's never been demonstrated to work commercially, and natural gas kind of industry kind of thought it would be taken for granted that you'd win?
Well, I'd say this, and you mentioned XTO. There are other companies, Chesapeake, Devon, Newfield, that are wonderful companies too, that are doing a great job and a good return for their investors. But you know, coal has its place. I think nuclear has its place. Wind has its place. Solar. I think we can all get along in this energy battle here, and we can come together. We can have room to put natural gas on the road without hurting the coal industry. And I know sometimes a lot of people try to pit us against each other, but I think you know, there is a place for coal for electric generation, but there's also a big place for natural gas. And what I'm gonna try to do is focus on the positives of natural gas, and that's the way I think we're gonna move forward. Because frankly, there are a lot of, like West Virginia is a perfect example where they produce a lot of coal and natural gas, and we got to have everybody together.
They got Marcellus Shale.
That's right.
Sir, it is great to have you again. I play with an open hand. If you win, our viewers win. I know it doesn't have to be zero sum, but we do need you to win to get the stocks higher.
We will, and good luck at the University of Oklahoma.
I don't even know if I need it. That's how excited I am. Congressman Boren, thank you so much for being able to add money.
Thank you.
That's Dan Boren of Oklahoma. Congress holds the key to the next leg up in natural gas.